to travel halfway around the world to kill poor people already in misery. Fast forward 40 years, and this time we see the whole world condemning GW's Christian prophecy. The New Testament says you will know them by their fruits, and you will know if you've been duped. The spirit of the prophets are subject to the prophets. See, GW was going to be the great war president who brought the Middle East democracy. He compared himself to Winston Churchill in keeping the world free. President Bush's fabled glory story of bringing a liberal Christian Western democracy to the entire Middle East, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Shock and awe. And 1 million murdered Iraqis. President Bush's disapproval rating has reduced him to little more than an insane asylum, 9 years old, in 1969. Trent's all grown up to the lies that he never thought he'd see again. 1 million dead Iraqis. One man bringing life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness to the troubled, rubbled mess of shock and awe. The great war president was going to bring liberal Christian Western democracy to the Middle East. His glory was going to spread like weeds. 9/11 was a literal answer to his dreams. Every prayer he ever uttered was right there in the rubble. Megaphone in his hand. In the wreckage he proclaimed that we would get those who were to blame. We now know there were no Iraqis on those planes, no money given to bin Laden from Saddam Hussein. Bush might have well have invaded Canada instead of Iraq. I know it sounds shocking, but Saddam Hussein has behaved like a virtual choir boy since George Sr. spanked him in the Desert Storm War. George Sr. had the consensus of the entire world in his Desert Storm defense of Kuwait, but he would not go into Baghdad. Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. Wouldn't be prudent. If only GW had the same intelligence that his father had. But GW wasn't interested in the details of reality. He was going to set the Iraqis free in his quest to go down in history. The United Nations said, don't go until you can show without doubt the weapons of mass destruction that Saddam is going to pull out. Glittering horns, black! Glittering horns, black! The UN inspector to see if he detected ticking time bombs of mass destruction. And he said, sir, no, sir. And he said, sir, no, sir. But Bush ignored the facts. War was his first resort to flex his muscles on false reports, reports from prisoners tortured, to gain a supportive report. Those poor bastards would say anything to bring their torture to an end, and these were his star witnesses, proof to send 4,000 American soldiers to their death, to leave behind the bereft, to wonder if it was really necessary. GW's daddy was a genuine war hero, and he chose not to go into Baghdad with the consensus of the entire world. GW wanted to make his own mark. He wanted to bite with his own bark. 40 years ago, Trent was just 9 years old when he watched the Vietnam War unfold. And 40 years later, just like Vietnam, somehow we repeated the same mistakes with such incredibly high stakes. 1 million dead Iraqis in a $3 trillion war that have sent the entire world into economy depression, the likes that we have not seen forever in this recession. He's tripped out the heads of the entire world, a single man with so much blood on his hands. How does he sleep at night with the lies he told to fight? How does he look in the mirror without vomiting life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness that we hold so dear? One man in the free world responsible for so much tyranny that even a sociopath could see. The evangelicals put him in power during those fateful hours when the Supreme Court voted to steal the election 4-3. To put this maniacal buffoon in power to alienate the whole world in these crucial hours. Do you think if Al Gore were president, the whole world would be thrown into such an economic depression? Do you think if Al Gore were president for the last 8 years, there would be more reason to cheer? How does GW take a single step? How does he brush his teeth? How does he sleep at night? How does he still put up his lies and fight? I praise Almighty God that GW's season of horror, the very fact that he's affecting sod, has finally come to an end. Trent's no longer a 9-year-old boy. He's an old white man fully employed to tell the truth of ruthlessness of the power during the final hours. If power corrupts, then absolute power corrupts absolutely. And I admire Trent's resolution to speak the truth, to open minds beyond reproof. And I pray someday that his students will say, it was an old white man who showed me the way.